the good friends, the ones we hold dear, the ones who will tell us what we need to hear, the ones who love us, right or wrong, and to all those good friends that give you this song.
Well, hello, good friends, and welcome back to The Last Walk, Remember When, with your host, Ron Baumbach. And we're going back in time again to the fun times. Soak it up, get off that easy chair, walk over to your fridge, open up the door and look in and reach in and take out a Dr. Brown's root beer. Pop it open, pour it into your tall glass with sizzles and fizzles. Reach up into the ice chest, reach way in the back, get a creamsicle, sit back in your easy chair, turn on your lava lamp, close your eyes, get ready. It's storytelling time. The Last Walk is back.
Life is too short, we get only one turn. With luck we find beauty, but we sometimes get burned. But if you've had a true friend, or perhaps love, you've experienced the peace of heaven above.
Recently, a friend of ours said to us they want to get a dog. They need a pet. A single woman thinking to herself that what do I need now is a nice little pet, a little dog to be my companion. So off she's going to go to probably the North Shore Animal League on Long Island and pick out a little bundle loved to be her buddy. It made me think. About a month ago we were at a friend's house having dinner. And they said, geez, we finally have an empty nest. There's no one here, just the two of us and Horace. We said, who's Horace? Oh, Horace is a turtle. You never met Horace? Our turtle we've had for 25 years. And our daughter and their daughter were very good friends growing up together. So over the years, our daughter knew Horace. I never knew Horace existed. Horace lives in a nice tank, has clean, fresh water. I have learned from speaking to my friend Debbie that she cleans this water 2 or 3 times a week, gives Horace a nice bath in a sink with a toothbrush, makes his shell good and clean. And Horace basically has a life of Riley, living in this tank in their home by the front window, being fed twice a day, I believe they said. In fact, when Horace knows when it's feeding time. As you walk over to him, he comes out of his little shell, walks up, puts his neck up, reaches out for the food. Now, Horace is not that big. He's not that small either. He's probably about, I would think, 8 inches altogether, with a 5-inch shell, maybe even bigger than that. But the guy's been there 25 years. I then learned that Horace can live till he's 90 years old. So our friend Debbie and Pete, now they're looking for a home, possibly down the road, for someone to take in Horace. And it made me think back to the pets we had when we were kids. What was your favorite pet? What was your very, very first pet? Think back. They're great memories and they're yours. What's the dogs and cats and birds of your life?
Oh, I've been so lucky and I've been so blessed. In spite of my failings, I've found success. For I've known love and I've known good times, and I have known friendship and written some rhymes.
Now the 4 of us in our home, plus our mom and dad, we were fortunate to live in a time where it was felt that children needed to have pets. Now ours did not seem to last too long though, either in life or at our home, but at least we tried. And we had all kinds of God's loving creatures. We had blue parakeets, green parakeets, and yellow canaries. Did you get birds when you were a kid? Did you get parakeets and canaries? We tried numerous times to teach them to talk or to sing. Of course, supposedly they were guaranteed to sing, but these things we got never did, to no avail. We would occasionally free these animals, these birds, for flights through a house. That didn't go over too well with Mom and Dad when they walk in the house, see this bird, this blue thing, a green thing, flying around the living room. And a big adventure getting it back into the cage was not fun. Now, Dad would always clean the cage. That was his job. I guess he didn't delegate that to one of us. He took the paper out, and that gritty sand-like stuff that would be on the bottom of the cage, on the floor. Now, some of the birds didn't really mind if we wanted to pet them. They let us reach in and stroke their back and their feathers. They were very, very happy to have that. Other ones got ticked off. And as soon as you put your hand in that cage, they started pecking away, trying to bite your finger off. Didn't work. We pulled it out real quick. We would make sure we didn't get bitten by that crazy bird. Anyway, when the birds went away, they were replaced by fish. Now, our fish would be in small tanks, large tanks, or simply swam in a bowl. They range from colorful tropical types to goldfish or guppies, which seem to reproduce really, really well. If nothing else, those guppies knew how to have fun. Cleaning the tank was a task no one enjoyed, and it wasn't our dad's task. It was delegated to one of us, and it probably led to the reason why the fish didn't last too long. Now, in fact, when the birds or fish would leave, usually meaning they would go to the place in the sky, we would normally have ceremonies to memorialize them, and either do a graveside burial in the backyard or a quick, simple We also learned that shoeboxes came in very handy for the deceased. Sorry about that, birds and fish. Anyway, we also had horned toads, turtles, chameleons, and frogs. I recall one day having caught a bunch of frogs, which I stored in a special jar. Now, I wasn't too scientific. I was not with my friend Steve, with another friend, by myself, I guess. I didn't know that the laws of nature required animals to do one thing that we all need to do. That's called breathe. I left the jar tightly closed in the backyard, and I didn't, like a fool, put holes in it. One scorching hot summer day, upon returning from a visit to a dear friend in East Williston, I went to see my pet frogs. I was most surprised with what my eyes beheld. Let's just say my frogs probably died on a Friday. Now, one of our really close neighbors had a dog named Corky. We all loved this neighborhood dog. We were lucky enough to get Corky's brother. We forgot his name years later, but I remember Corky. Now, we had this Corky brother of Corky, who was tan in color, and a very, very cute dog, but he had one major problem in life. He really enjoyed ripping our mom and our Aunt Estelle's stockings. For some reason, he would jump up and then scratch down with his paws, and there go those stockings. After a few months, that was the excuse, quote-unquote, that we were given. He had to go, and off he went. The stocking stripper. He kept taking too many stockings, and he went bye-bye. Now, a few years later, we were asked to take ownership of a huge beagle. This thing was massive. Beagle called Tiger, who belonged to our dad's boyhood friend, who was also, coincidentally, our family dentist in East Williston. This dog was cool, loving, and really harmless. A massive, tall dog, a beagle, really nice, calm guy. And he also didn't rip stockings. What more could you ask for? But we had one problem. Tiger didn't like staying with us. Tiger would basically leave our house any time he could. Any chance he could to get out that front door or backyard, he'd be gone, running miles and miles away, 3 miles to his old house, over the railroad tracks, over the backyards, anywhere, the main streets, to get back to our dentist's house. After many, many series of these trips, we finally gave him back, and Tiger was sent to live far, far away on a farm. Now, stories were we heard he eventually broke loose and came back home again. Over 100 miles he made the journey from upstate New York to Long Island to be back home again. Tiger did not want to leave. Now we then got a gorgeous collie named Laddie. I love this dog. He was the son of one of our neighbors, Jim McIntyre's dog, Lady. Everyone loved Lady. Lady was the block dog, a beautiful animal who looked just like Lassie. She was the most gorgeous creature you want to see. She was calm, kind. She loved it when anyone would pet her or give her any kind of attention. A truly stunning animal. Now, Lady had a litter, and we were fortunate enough to be given one of her puppies. I was pumped. Now, I thought Laddie became my dog, or so it seemed, as no one in the home appeared to want him except for me. I was the only one who was thrilled about Laddie, but we got him, and I was tickled pink. I always dreamed of being Timmy from the TV show Lassie. Remember Timmy had these tremendous canine companion who would help him out at certain issues and troubles he had at all times in his life? He'd be the one that shared secrets with. He would never ever complain back to him.
Starring Jan Clayton, Tommy Rettig, George Cleveland, with John Provost as Timmy, and of course Lassie.
I wanted so much to have a dog like Lassie, but that was a girl's name, so I named Laddie, a guy's name. He was my Laddie. Laddie and I also shared adventures, as much as any other 8-year-old could. I would pretend we were a horse and buggy team. I would put a leash on Laddie and have him pull me as I rode my bike. It was fantastic. Right down our block, he'd be galloping along, I'm holding on with the string. Until one day, he saw another dog and he bolted after him. I went faster than I ever could imagine. I felt like Charleston Heston in Ben-Hur, with the gladiators coming after him, and he's in that chariot, and he's going around rapidly through the Roman streets. I'm going through the streets of Long Island with my dog pulling me, and I'm holding on to my bicycle with the string, and all of a sudden, boom, I went flat on my face, all four out there, and Laddie kept on running. Well, needless to say, we soon stopped that trick. Now, as luck would have it, Laddie had behavior issues, or so I was told, and as much as we tried, we couldn't properly train him. I was only 8 years old. What did I care? I remember the day when I was told we had to give Laddie away to another family. That was not a fun day in my world. Being he had a fan club of only one, my vote didn't mean too much, and I recall standing in the alleyway by my next-door neighbor, the Doyles, and us, in between between both homes, in tears, all upset my dog Laddie was going away. I knew there had to be more to that story than what I was told. I knew it didn't make sense. Mom and Dad didn't dislike Laddie. They wanted me to be happy with the dog. Maybe he tore apart my mom and my Aunt Estelle's stockings like Corky's brother did. But nah, I never saw that happen. I learned that years later, when we did our last walk on our block, when my sister Deb confessed to me she was afraid of large dogs, and she was the reason why Laddie had to go bye-bye. I lost my doggie. Well, at least he wasn't like Tiger, always running away. At least I knew he loved living with us, and he was an animal that could have been my Lassie. Now, I would ride by my bicycle by his new home, which was around the corner, and I looked at those nasty boys who now had my Laddie. They only lived about 3 or 4 blocks away. I would ride by and look at this house and think, why is my dog in that home? As time crept on, eventually I started to gradually get over it, perhaps because we only had Laddie for about 3 months, and for all I knew, maybe that was the original plan. Maybe we were foster parents for dogs, just taking them in and letting them go when they get old enough to be on their own. Now my concern returned on a cold winter night.